We knew it was coming, but Jason Schreier has officially released the Bloomberg article that absolutely bombshells Cyberpunk 2077's development and the circumstances surrounding the game. Let's get into it. I'm going to read a couple of really interesting snippets, and then we're going to digest it together, okay? So, Adrian Jakubiak, a former audio programmer for CD Projekt, said one of his colleagues asked during a meeting how the company thought it would be able to pull off a technically more challenging project in the same time frame as The Witcher. Someone answered, "We'll figure it out along the way." Jakubiak goes on to say, "I knew it wasn't going to go well. I just didn't know how disastrous it would be." Part of the fans' disappointment is proportional to the amount of time they had spent waiting for the game. Although Cyberpunk was announced in 2012, the company was then still mainly focused on The Witcher 3, and full development didn't start until late 2016, which was when CD Projekt essentially hit the reset button, according to people familiar with the project. Studio head Adam Badowski took over as director, demanding overhauls to Cyberpunk's gameplay and story. For the next year, everything was changing, including fundamental elements like the gameplay perspective. Top staff who had worked on The Witcher 3 had strong opinions on how Cyberpunk should be made, which clashed with Badowski and led to the eventual departure of several top developers. Now I want to stop here for a second. You guys remember that leak from a few weeks back that CD Projekt Red came out and said, no, we don't usually respond to rumors, but this one is fake? Well, that leak detailed a lot of the clashing between employees and studio execs, studio heads, and it is the same type of thing that we're seeing here. I know it's not unusual for studio heads and employees, developers to clash a little bit, but I just found that really interesting that this is detailing pretty much exactly what was said in that leak a few weeks back. Much of CD Projekt's focus, according to several people who worked on Cyberpunk, was impressing the outside world. A slice of gameplay was showcased at E3, the industry's main trade event in 2018. It showed the main character embarking on a mission. Okay, we know this stuff with a big gameplay trailer, but get this. Fans and journalists were wowed by Cyberpunk's ambition and scale. What they didn't know was that the demo was entirely fake. Okay, I left out a little part there. It says the demo was almost entirely fake, but let's be real. For all intensive purposes, it was pretty much entirely fake. And then some more info on the cut content here. CD Projekt hadn't yet finalized and coded the underlying gameplay systems, which is why so many features such as car ambushes were missing from the final product. Developers said they felt like the demo was a waste of months that should have gone towards making the game. Oh, dude, what a spit in the face. Like anybody with a pair of eyeballs, like if you can see, yeah, you know that the demo was fake because you saw the demo and then you play the game, right? But now it's really interesting and frustrating to learn the circumstances behind why it was faked, And of course, on the grander scale, we know it was money, obviously, but to know the inner workings behind it, it just aggravates me even more. Oh my god. And then when talking about when the game was slated for an April 16th, 2020 release, one person on the development team said they thought the date was a joke. And based on the team's progress, they expected the game to be ready in 2022, man. So it was like a late April Fool's joke. Like, what? Are you kidding me? You think the game could be out this year? And this just shows how out of touch the developers are with the studio heads. And this just needs to stop for future games if they want any shred of success with future games getting announced. Developers created memes, dude, about the game getting delayed. Canceling features and scaling down the size of Cyberpunk's metropolis helped, but the team's growth hampered some departments, developers say. And this right here is my problem, okay? Because the bugs at this point, I'm used to it. The choppy frame rate, I'm used to it. Of course, that's what needs to be fixed. But the apology video from Marcin Nowinski a few days ago, he was like, we're working hard on patches to fix the bugs and fix the game, as if that's the only problem with the game. As if they're going to fix a couple of bugs and boom, everything is going to be great. No, it goes far deeper than that because there's so many canceled features, cut content, and things that the game needs as core game mechanics and features that aren't present. So I'm sick of hearing that a couple of patches fixing all the bugs and stuff like that, and the game is going to be great. No, it goes way deeper than that, as this article shows. The article goes on to mention how CD Projekt Red was super understaffed, and games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5 had thousands of people working on it at the same time, and they were just understaffed. And it goes and talks about the real greed of the CD Projekt Red execs here. And it's just so sad. And I know that's such a cliche way to describe it, but I mean, like, how else would you describe this? You know what I mean? Like, they talk about the delaying the game past 2020 not being an option because they want that money. And they wanted to double dip so bad with the PS4 and Xbox One version, and then the PS5 and Series X version. And yeah, dude, it's just so devastating, honestly, man, because this is one of the games that I was most excited for ever. And I'm glad that they got bit in the ass with this one, though. I'm glad about that. Because at least now, in the future, people will look at this as a point of reference. Like, oh, don't be like Cyberpunk. Don't pull a Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? It's the same thing like with Anthem. Everybody's bringing that up lately. So at least that's like the only thing good that came out of it. But other than that, it's just bad, man. It's just so bad. And then some more tidbits on Twitter from Schreier. One CDPR developer told their manager that they didn't want to work overtime, as their CEO had said they would be okay doing that. Fine, their manager said, but one of their other coworkers would just have to work extra hours to make up for them. Several other developers shared similar stories. Awful. When asked about unrealistic deadlines, directors would say they'd be fine. They made The Witcher 3 after all, like they could just work some magic out of nowhere. And then we've got these two bombshell tweets. Okay, listen to this. If you're wondering just how much Cyberpunk changed over the past decade, well, up until 2016, it was a third-person game. Up until 2016, man. Features that were originally envisioned, wall running, flying cars, car ambushes, were cut along the way, which is not atypical in game development. And if you're wondering why the police system in Cyberpunk is so janky, yes, I'm definitely wondering that, well, it was all done at the last minute. As is evident by the final product, it was unclear to some of the team why they were trying to make both an RPG and a GTA with a fraction of Rockstar's staff. I don't know, guys. I'm going to end it on right there. I mean, this is all stuff that we could have kind of drawn conclusions to and assumed, but to hear, like, to what extent this went to, and just how much of a gong show it actually was, it really disappoints me even more. And, I mean, like I said, the only good thing possibly from it is that game companies maybe learn from this, and I'm seeing that usually game companies don't learn their lesson, but if they can pull stuff away from it and make games better in the future because of it, and I know this is a weird positive spin, but, I mean, like, I can't just say all games are going to suck from now on, because I love video games too much. I refuse to say that. So, I don't know.